Let's go. Hey, howdy, hey. It is Molly, the Disney Picky Eater, and I am here back with our at-home vlog recreating Disney snacks. And today we are going to recreate the Woody's Lunchbox Tart, and I'm going to do the raspberry flavor. Now, the recipe that I got is directly from Disney Parks blog, but this one is actually for the chocolate hazelnut one. So I am replacing chocolate hazelnut with raspberry. I made my own raspberry jam. You don't have to do that. You can buy store-bought. So let's get into it. This recipe seems pretty simple. We are going to start by combining the flour, sugar, brown sugar, salt, butter, coconut oil, and 2 eggs. Now the flour has to get sifted. So I have my trusty little sifty guy here. You can use like one of those actual trigger sifters if you've got one. I don't. So we need 4 cups of flour. 1, and you can just plop them all into the sifter. If your sifter, like my sifter will be big enough to hold all of this, so I don't have to like keep doing it, but if yours won't be, then you do it 1 cup at a time. There's 3. Let me do a little sifting before I... Now the reason why you want to sift flour when it calls for sifting is because it, you want to make sure you keep the flour in the sifter. So sifting ingredients makes it a little finer. A lot of the times if you have a recipe that's got something like almond flour, which can be gritty and can have actually like little pieces of like the almond shell still in it, they ask you to sift that so that you get kind of all of those more gritty pieces kind of fine-tuned, and then, you know, whatever's left when it comes to like almond flour in your sifter, obviously you just chuck it because you don't want to use those parts, and that's why they ask you to sift it. Okay, flour is sifted. Then to that we are going to add a cup of a half a cup of white sugar and a half a cup of brown sugar. There's a lot of sugar in these recipes. This also makes 8 Lunchbox Tarts, so, you know, that's kind of a lot, I guess, considering how big they are. Let's see if this is enough or if we need more. Woo, making a mess with the brown sugar. Okay, we need 2 teaspoons of salt. This calls for coarse salt, so that's kind of like a sea salt kind of thing. That very well could be because this is technically the recipe for the hazelnut ones, the hazelnut chocolate, you know, hazelnut. And coarse salt with that would be delicious. So we'll see what it does. We'll see if this recipe can actually be transferred to the raspberry ones. I could not find a raspberry recipe, so when I saw this one straight from the parks, I thought, that'll be perfect. Salt, butter, okay. Here's where I get alarmed. This is an aggressive amount of butter. It is 3 sticks, but it is unsalted, chilled, and cubed. So you're gonna wanna cut them into cubes. Make sure that you've got the unsalted kind. Just seems like an aggressive amount of butter to me. I'm not big on butter, so holy moly. All right, well, all right, the butter, the coconut oil. This is interesting. I've never seen coconut oil in a pastry before. I had a hard time finding coconut oil at my grocery store. You want the solid kind when you're baking. The liquid kind is for like frying. And I got refined coconut oil, not unrefined coconut oil. Unrefined coconut oil is like not processed as much. So the coconut flavor is like, dag, that's coconut. This is much of a less intense coconut flavor, which is good because I hate coconut. So I was a little alarmed when I saw this as part of the recipe. So, ooh, nice and thick. Actually, it doesn't really smell like coconut, probably because it's unrefined. So you need 1/4 of a cup of the coconut oil. So like you need to get a spoon and you kind of want to, I don't even know what else I'm going to use coconut oil for. So 1/4 of a cup of coconut oil. I wonder what it is about the coconut oil that maybe because you're putting in so much dang butter, they're like, let's offset it. You know, it's like when you go to Disney and you do nothing but like eat chicken tenders and then you're like, I know, I'll have a cutie for a snack because that'll offset everything that I've just eaten. I think it's like that. It's Disney rules, so it makes sense. All right, coconut oil in. And 2 eggs. This recipe calls for 3 eggs because you're going to be using a 3rd egg later. 1, 2. Do as I say, not as I do. Don't directly crack your eggs into your bowl. All right. And then we're going to stick this onto the stand mixer. We are using a paddle attachment, as you can see from the paddle. And we are going to mix on medium speed until blended. So let's get this baby on here. The reason why I didn't start off with it on was because I had to sift the flour. So start off slow, then get to medium. Okay. That took a while to get going, so don't be alarmed if it takes a little more time than you're expecting for it to kind of start coming together. Definitely start low, otherwise flour is gonna go flying everywhere and that would suck. I did lose a lot of flour, not like so much that I need to like fix it. But now that it is combined, we are going to add the water. There are 10 tablespoons of water in this recipe, which seems kind of like a weird amount. So I just have like water here so that I could just scoop out 10 tablespoons. So you're gonna add it on low speed for a minute and increase the speed until it's smooth, and you have to make sure that you don't overmix it. So here we go. Truly, I have no idea what this is supposed to look like. I am assuming this is correct, but I guess that's why we're doing these vlogs, to just see what we can figure out. Then you want to divide the dough into 2 even balls, wrap them in plastic, and let them rest for 45 minutes. So we're gonna pull this guy down. You know, a lot of it is stuck to the sides, and I'm just wondering, like, should it be? Should this be more of a dough ball than... I have no idea. My gut says this doesn't seem right, but I've never done this before, so... You know what it kind of feels like? It's like a sugar cookie dough. That's the vibe I'm getting from this. And in the same way that, like, when you make sugar cookies, you put them, if you're making homemade ones, you put them in the fridge to let them chill so that you can cut them out. I think that's kind of like what this is going to end up being like. This is going to be extraordinarily sticky to touch, so I recommend flouring your own hands. And before you touch this, get your plastic wrap ready. Okay, so my plastic wrap is down. I put flour on my hands, and I guess I'm just gonna have to eyeball what is gonna be half of this. Ooh, I can feel chunks of butter. That's also why you wanna like chill it for a while, because butter chunks. I would say those are 2 pretty even balls. I think this dough is way too sticky. I think that I miscalculated something. I'm not sure what. All right, so we are going to wrap these up. We are going to place them in the refrigerator for 45 minutes, and we are gonna come back and hope that they are what they need to be. Into the fridge they go, and let's pray that these are exactly what they need to be. By the power of editing, it is 45 minutes later. All right, 45 minutes. We are going to unwrap this. We're gonna plop it down on a lightly floured surface. This calls for a cutting board. I don't have a big enough cutting board, so I just laid out some parchment paper and did this. So we're gonna roll this out to 1/4 of an inch thick, and then we are going to cut it into 8 2x6 rectangles. So, oh goodness. Okay, sticky, sticky, sticky. So you definitely wanna also flour your rolling pin if possible. I also have my baking sheet with parchment paper already out right here, so I don't have to worry about needing that later. My goodness, this is a sticky, sticky, sticky dough. All right, I think that's probably good. I have no idea how I'm gonna get 8 out of this. I don't think I'm going to, which is okay, because frankly, I'm one person, I don't need 8. So I have a paring knife that I'm gonna use to cut, and I'm gonna measure with this guy. So we want 2x6. Seems very, very thin. Turns out I need flour on literally everything. This is not looking promising, guys. All right, we're gonna keep doing this. Okay, that made a horrible, horrible mess. I'm not sure why. I don't know if it is something that I did wrong with the ingredients. I don't know if it's just a sticky AF dough. But put a lot of flour. It says lightly. I'm saying a lot because that's been my experience. So once you have those cut out, I ended up only getting 6. I don't know what happened, genuinely. It says to do an egg wash on them, so you do an egg and it had some salt in it. I didn't put the salt in because, again, I'm not making the hazelnut ones. I'm just gonna brush the sides of this. And then I'm gonna add my raspberry jam. So far, this is proving to be a more difficult at-home recipe. Truly, it might be a recipe that is more worth just waiting till you get to the parks. So I have my raspberry jam that I made last night, and I'm gonna put some of this in the middle of each of these second dough. You're gonna roll this one out again, 1/4 of an inch thick. I think some of mine are too thick. You're gonna roll this one out, and then you're gonna put it on top of the ones that you have here. All right, you put those on top, and then you need a fork to seal it all in because you do not want any of that jam running out. Fork, and you're just gonna press all the sides to just make sure that it is squished on down in there. These are not looking so hot. I won't lie. Now you want to do a little egg wash on top to give it kind of like a brown appearance. And then we're going to pop this in the oven for 17 minutes at 375. So as you can see, these came out pretty disaster-like. Still not sure what happened. I managed to get one pretty good one, which is over on the plate cooling. And yeah, I don't know what happened. All right. Sometimes trying to recreate a recipe at home does not work out. They did not come out great. I got one that was semi-good. It's still pretty hot, so I'm gonna let it cool down just for a little bit longer, and then I'm gonna put while that was cooking, I made the icing that they recommended. Now, at Woody's, they usually do like a strip of fondant almost. I mean, it basically is fondant. That recipe, the recipe that I have, from the recipe that I took from Disney, has you make an icing. So it's kind of like more of a, like an icing that you would make for like a gingerbread house. It's confectioner sugar, milk, and some lemon juice. And I put a little bit of raspberry juice in it to kind of like match the flavor and to give it like a little bit of a pink hue. So it wasn't totally white, because as we know, the Lunchbox Tarts that are raspberry in at Woody's Lunchbox are pink on top with little pink sprinkle balls things, which I don't have. But we are going to get a little frosting on here, and we're going to give it a try. I don't know, guys. This is the first time this has happened. So we're just going to keep going with it, and we're going to march on. We're going to be strong about it. Okay, so while it doesn't look the prettiest, it could still be delicious. We have no idea. So this is what I got. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to try my best to pick this up and pop it open. So this is what it looks like. The bottom, the frosting. So like this, because this is like icing and it's not like frosting, it's very drippy. It could also be that it's like still pretty hot. So let's see what this looks like inside. Okay, hey, that looks like a Pop-Tart. All right, so it's looking pretty dang good. Cheers to you. Okay, I feel like I'm not mad anymore. It's very good. It tastes like a Pop-Tart. The dough definitely looked like it needed more flour. That's why it was like getting really stuck and having a lot of issues. And I really kind of just was like, ugh, at the end of it. And I was annoyed. But seeing it now baked, as you can see, if you can see, it's hard to get a focus on that. So it's a very butter, there was 3 sticks of butter in it. There was a lot of butter. So there was a lot of opportunities for it to crumble apart. It probably could have also been refrigerated a little bit longer. It said 45 minutes, but I think if you leave it for like an hour, maybe even 2 hours, it's not gonna be bad. It's like the same way that you want the sugar cookie, if you make homemade sugar cookie, you want it to like really kind of come together while it's in the fridge. Now, I made my raspberry jam. I think I did a good job. You can absolutely buy a jar of raspberry jam. They make it with or without the seeds in it. I would highly recommend that. I made my jam. My jam came out. I basically made raspberry candy. It was like a big lollipop. I had to fix it. It was a whole thing. If you're looking for it to be as simple as possible, then absolutely just get like a jar. I am really impressed at how kind of exactly spot on for a Pop-Tart that looks. This is more of a cookie base rather than a pie crust base, which I much prefer. I do not like pie. I do not like pie crust. All in all, this is a toss-up for me. While I was incredibly frustrated while I was trying to do the recipe, and I said a lot of 4-letter words, it actually ended up coming out pretty dang good. There would be some troubleshooting that I would have to do, probably add some more flour, maybe meditate before I do this. Is it an easy recipe to make at home? Not necessarily. I mean, if you love a Woody's Lunchbox Tart, you're probably just gonna want the Woody's Lunchbox Tart. Is this a good copycat? Yeah, I mean, all in all, it turned out good and it tastes good. I would never make this again. I would never go through all of that complicated, all the butter. It's just, for me, it's too much. And for somebody who never uses coconut oil otherwise in her life, to spend $7 on a giant jar of coconut oil, which was the only size that my store had, seems like what's the point of this? I probably would never make this recipe again, full disclosure. It is good. I will probably eat them all, even though, you know, they don't look pretty, but who cares what they look like? They taste good. You probably just want to wait until you get to the parks to get this, unless you're like a super master at baking and you're like, I could totally handle that and it would be great. I wouldn't let kids do this. Like, this would just, it would be such a mess. The dough was so sticky. So like, meh, it's like a 50-50. If you feel like you're daring and you feel like you could like take this on, do it. If not, just wait till you get to the parks, truly. I mean, it's good, but I don't think it's worth all of what I just had my frustration of. Let me know in the comments below if you were planning on trying this disaster recipe. It is a good recipe. It's straight from Disney. It's not really a disaster. I was a disaster making it. Let me know in the comments below if you made the Jack Jack Num Num cookie or what you want to see next. What do you want to see next? I'm going to try to tackle Now I'm scared because I said I was gonna do zebra domes, and that is way more hard than this is. So fingers crossed for me. Let me know what you wanna see next. Let me know if you've tried this recipe and how it came out for you. I would love to hear what you did that made it a better recipe, because I don't know what I did. And always remember, if you were looking for the 411 on Disney and on Disney Snacks and on maybe sometimes some disaster snacks, we're being fully transparent here. I've got you covered. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.